All right, Evernote basics. I'm curious, any of you using Evernote? Anybody using it already? Do they have an account yet? Oh, Antoinette uses a little bit. All right. Antoinette, how have you been using it?
I've been using it for notes and kind of a backup from OneNote, I guess.
Okay.
I kind of like them differently.
Yeah. All right. So people
Hmm.
often ask me about that, like, what's the difference between these different things? I mean, I'm going to get into what Evernote is. It's basically, I call it a digital filing cabinet, but there's other note-taking tools out there, like
Hmm.
OneNote. That's Microsoft's thing. Google has Google Keep, and Apple has Apple Notes, and so you've got those. But Antoinette, did you get to a point using OneNote that it was like you needed to do a little bit more, and you're like, okay, now I'm going to use Evernote? Did you kind of do that evolution?
Yes, and then it was like, okay, we're gonna charge you for this,
Oh,
and it went into a whole nother thing. I was like, really? I don't know if I want to do this right now.
I got you. All right.
Hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I'm going to show you how to do a free version of this. So that's a good thing. So yeah,
Okay, great.
yes, good. Anybody else using it? Anybody dabbled with it a little bit, played with it?
I used it years ago to take notes and then forgot about it.
Okay, all right.
And I re-signed into my account today. So I have a question about the free version. If you have the free version, I guess they have access to just about everything on your Google account because it hooks into your calendar if you ask it to. But if you get the paid version, do you have more different security options?
Security, not really security. It just gives you more things.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'll do a little bit of a comparison contrast for you here, but it was good you got back into your old account. That's good. Good for you. All right. Anybody else on there? All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump in here. We're going to talk about how to create your own account if you don't have one, how to set up and organize notebooks, how to create notes, how to curate notes. This is a way I use it a lot. Is I find content in other places and I want to store it in here. I use this as kind of the storage platform for a lot
Hmm.
of things that I find. And then how do you search, share, and print, and then some advanced features. So I have an advanced version of this class too. This is the basic one where we just kind of introduce it to you, but happy to answer any questions as we go along. So it's all about getting organized. I think I always hated it when I had like a desk job and some older person would come into my office and they'd say, if you organize your desk, you'd be more organized in life. And I never really bought into that idea that, you have to have this decluttered desk. Well, there's some truth to it, but some people are more, type A than others and they have to have everything in their place. Others don't really care about all of that. But the idea of being organized as a whole is really a powerful thing because if we have this sense of being disorganized, we tend to be a little scattered and confused and we lack clarity and confidence and all. So what organization does is it gives us that clarity and that confidence that is so important to kind of function in life, right? And the challenge we have is there's so much information that we have available and accessible to us and we just get overwhelmed. It's like, oh my gosh, there's just so much stuff. And at some point you can get overwhelmed and say, I don't want to take it anymore because I don't know where to, I haven't managed what I've got already. How can I take in more? So it discourages you from taking in more. But if you could set up a system, a process, a strategy of being organized that worked for you, then it would encourage you to be willing to take on even more information. And for me, the value of this is having a place to put something real easily and then having an easy way to retrieve it. That's really my goal of being organized. Like, can you have a place where you put stuff and then you know where it is to get back to it? That's really what it is, right? It's like that crazy college professor whose desk is just piled up, books and papers and all of that. And somebody says, how do you know where anything is? He goes, well, what do you want? And they say, well, I want an article on this. And he reaches like his arm into this big pile of stuff and he pulls it out and goes, here it is. It's kind of having that kind of access to your information and knowing where things are. The physical filing cabinets just don't do that for me. My physical file cabinet becomes a junk drawer and it's very unorganized and not managed, and I can't take it with me, so it doesn't really work well. But when you use these digital tools, you can really take it with you, whether it's on your desktop or your computer, your phone, or a tablet, something like that. Okay, so I call it the digital filing cabinet, and I used Evernote for many, many years as my place to organize everything. And I'm big on tools, finding tools that work for you, but I'm also honest enough to say the best tool is the one that works for you and that you use, not the one that I tell you about. If it doesn't work for you, don't use this tool. And we're all different. We have our own styles of doing things. But what I like about Evernote is it's got some flexibility to use it how you want. And it's not overdone. It's added some things. A lot of software companies do what I call bloat their software. They try to add so many features and abilities to it, it ceases to become very valuable. It just becomes confusing and just bogged down with too many options and stuff. So Evernote hasn't done that, although they've added, tasks and calendars and something like that, which I don't use. I just use it as a kind of a filing cabinet. So Evernote's pretty simple to learn how to use, and it's a good place to start. And it takes you one step beyond the OneNotes, the Google Keeps, and the Apple Notes. When you have so much in there that you can't really keep it sorted out, because those are really simple programs. This takes it to another level of organization. All right, ideal-wise, there's some things you could do, right? You could use it for all kinds of things. You could create to-do lists and put them in there, shopping lists, grocery lists, travel plans. You could inventory items that you have pictures in there of it. Replacement items you have, like I have my air filters for my air conditioner. I don't remember those sizes. Whenever I have to order those, I don't remember what those are, but I've got those. I can find it and pull it up. Some of your appliances have other parts that have to be replaced, like your water filter in your refrigerator. If you have a water filter in your refrigerator, those are things that you just don't have to memorize. You don't want to use your brain to remember that. So you kind of have it somewhere where you know where to get to it. People to contact, home repairs you're working on, items you're interested in buying, things that you might want to collect that you're thinking about buying. It's really good for capturing receipts. All of our receipts are these thermal receipts that fade over time. So you can use your phone and the Evernote app on your phone, take a quick picture of the receipt, and it's filed away and you know where to get to it. So you can throw away the paper and you're good. And you can still show the clerk at the store that picture of it on your phone, and they can scan it or get the codes off of it they need to use it. So it works. You can clip web articles. I'll show you how to do that. There's a web extension that you can put on your browser, and it throws stuff right into Evernote. You tell it what notebook to go in, and it goes right in there. So you don't have to copy and paste and open up stuff. It does it really quick and easy. Business cards, checklists, meeting notes. You can take all your GetSetUp notes in here and have them organized by topic or guide or whatever you wanted to do in there. You could even attach the notes that you get emailed to you after the class and make that part of the note as well. Any research that you're working on is a good place to have that as you collect different things. Sometimes when you're researching, there's pictures and there's articles and there's things that you write and there's things that you are given or emails that are given. And how do you put those into some organized place that's easy to access and get to? That's there. You can also do audio recordings. You can record yourself talking or somebody else talking and put that in there as an audio recording. You can doodle and do sketches and do that, drawings, and put those into Evernote. Even your health records, if you wanted to keep those, you could put. So this is just a short list of ideas of ways you could use Evernote. And you don't have to use it for all of this, but it's just to jog your memory to kind of get you thinking about some possibilities of what it can do. The idea is you have one account. So like Deborah said, she had an account before. So she logged in and she could access that account on her computer. And on her computer, it works on PC or Mac, it doesn't matter. You can access it through a web browser, or you can download their app for free and run it as an application on your computer. You can also install their free app on your tablet or iPad, and then also your phone. It works on Android or iPhone, either one. And then with your one account, you can access your account from any of those devices. Obviously, the bigger the screen, the more you see, but everything is available everywhere. It's just what size screen do you want to look at it and put it in. But one of the nice things is that you can take this with you as you're out and about, because like I said, it's really good to have a system where no matter where you are, you have a way to capture things and put them into your file system, if you will, into your organization. And often we have our phones with us when we're out and about. So we could take a picture of something, we could scan something, we could type it in ourselves right there, and it goes right into Evernote. So that's what's really good about that. Okay. All right. We're going to, I would suggest if you don't have an account and you want to try this, go to evernote.com and set up a free account there. There's some confusion, and they seem to try to sell you the paid version when you try to put it on a mobile device. And people get their marketing is pretty aggressive, I guess. So they make it feel like the only option is to give them a credit card. Don't give them a credit card. Just do the free one, do the free version. So it's sometimes easier to do that on the browser rather than the mobile device. But you go to evernote.com and go there. All right, here's the different plans. So the free plan, I've kind of circled the things that really differentiate these. Deborah, you were asking about this a little bit. On the free plan, you can sync up to 2 devices. Remember back here, I said you could use this on these different things here. If you just use your computer and your phone, you're good because your account can be accessible on both and they'll be synced. But if you have a tablet and a computer and a phone and you want to have it synced on all 3, now you're pushing beyond a little bit the free version, right? Now they're going to ask you to pay. And now you could log out of one and just be in only 2 at a time. You could do that. You could switch, log out of one, log into the other. You could switch that if you wanted to, play that game with them. But it just doesn't let you be logged in at all 3 at the same time. It's 2 at a time, basically. So there's a way to kind of get around that if you're flexible with that. Okay. All right. Antoinette's wheels are turning. She's thinking how to do this. Yes. There's workarounds for things. Yes. You've also, so on the paid version though, you have unlimited devices. So that when you pay for that, then you can have as many devices as you want, but that's the big difference. The other one is how much you can put in per note or per month. So if you're doing a whole lot of uploading, then you might have to pay for it. But I worked on the free one for a really long time and didn't have any trouble. I wasn't like massively uploading stuff all the time. I was doing it as I went, and I did fine without any kind of limitations there. All right. So I would start out with a free one and just use it. And if it turns out to be something that's beneficial to you, then you keep using it for free as long as you can. And if you ever bump up to the point where you're like, hey, I'd like to do more, and the only way to do more is to pay for it, then at that point you've validated the value of it, I think. So just start out with a free one. Any questions on this so far? Deborah asked about emails. Yeah, so the other difference in the free and the paid is the free one will let you do, I don't know, like 5 emails a month or something like that. They limit how many emails you can use. The way when we talk about emails, Evernote will give you an email address that you can forward your emails to, and it'll automatically put it into your Evernote account. Because you get stuff in email, and I hate email. I'm not a fan of email. It's a necessary evil in life, but the less I can spend in email, the better. So what I typically do is if there's an email I need to take action on, I pull the content out of that and put it into something else that I like to use, whether it's Evernote or Notion or Miro or whatever I'm using. I try to pull the content so I don't have to go back to that email again. So like Deborah, like when you guys in the Accelerator program send me your assignments, I pull them out of the email and put them into something else. So I don't have to go back to that email because I don't want to have to go looking for the email. That's a pain. So what Evernote allows you to do is I could, if I was pushing an Evernote, I could forward your email that I wanted to push into Evernote to this specific email they give me, and it goes right into my Evernote account. The free version limits how much of that you can do, but they tease you enough to think, hey, isn't this a great feature? If you use this a lot, then you need to pay for the next level, and then you could use it all you wanted.
Is there a way to cut and paste email content?
Yeah, you could work around it. Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. Let me tell you about the hierarchy of how this is set up in here. So the way, this is kind of the side panel here on the left that you're looking at in the middle of the screen. Down here, you got a search box, and I'll open this up in the program in a minute after I explain it. You can search your content of your notes. One of the most powerful things about Evernote is it'll search not just the title of your notes and notebooks, but also the content of your notes. An interesting example, there's a gentleman that's been on GetSetUp with me a few times here. And he puts map images in his Evernote accounts and his Evernote notes. And when he goes in, he can search a name of a city that's on one of the maps, the picture of the map that's in his note, and it'll find it. So Evernote search engine is really strong. It searches not just the name of the notebook, but also the content of the notes. It's really powerful that way. The paid version will actually take it one step further, and it'll actually search inside a PDF for you without having you to open. So if you put PDFs into your notes, it'll actually search the inside of that PDF for you. All right. So the way this is, so that's the search. Down, you've got notes, and then you've got notebooks. The way this is set up, you've got notes. Note would be anything that you create that you put content in, right? It's a note. Just think of it. It's like a piece of paper. It could be endless pages. It could be as many pages as you want. But it could be anything you put in there, from a checklist to a photo to an audio file to attachments, whatever you want, type of things you text. So when you get enough notes, at some point you want to organize those notes into notebooks, or folders, if you will. They call them notebooks. Okay. So now you organize your notes into notebooks. So now there's some order, some structure to what you're doing. That's where this starts to give you some value. Okay. At the point you get too many notebooks and you say, okay, I got all these notebooks and they kind of relate to each other, you could collect notebooks into what's called a stack. So in this picture right here, in this illustration, I created a sports stack, and inside the sports stack, I have a baseball, football, and a soccer notebook. So those are notebooks inside a stack. Okay, so that's the 3 levels. Notes is the basic level. Then you can organize notes into notebooks, and you can organize notebooks into stacks. You don't have to use stacks. You don't have to use notebooks, but this seems to start making sense when you start to the point where you have so many notes, they need to be broken into these different notebooks. And you can always move them around. They're really easy to move around from notebook to notebook. Okay, you can create endless notebooks, endless notes, endless stacks. You decide. You can't create notebooks inside notebooks, though. There's not that level. So it's just these 3 levels: notes, notebooks, and stacks. All right. Everybody thinks different. Everybody organizes different. If I gave you 7 things, you would all organize them differently, right? It'd just be like, I think these go together, these go together, these go together. So this is just idea examples, and there are 3 different ones. You could have a personal notebook, a work notebook, a hobby notebook, a resource notebook, whatever you want to call it, whatever, right? Or you could have a to-do stack, which has personal work and hobby notes inside that, notebooks in there. You could have a project stack, a people stack, a resource stack. This thing at the top, the orange one, the inbox, this is just a strategy. You want to touch this information as few times as possible, right? You don't want to have to be managing stuff all the time. So sometimes, though, you find content or you create something and you don't have time to put it in the right notebook. So if you had kind of a collection point where you put those things in that you knew you had to go back and kind of assign their notebooks to, that's what the inbox or to be filed idea is. I use a thing called brain dump. I have a brain dump folder that I just kind of throw stuff in. Sometimes I'm in a hurry and I'm like, okay, I need to go back and put those in the right notebooks eventually. But right now I'm going to put them here rather than just adding up, stacking up with this big list. It puts a container. You can create your own self container to kind of file these later if you want to work that way. Now, if you're the kind of person like, no, everything has its place right off the bat, I don't need that. I'm going to make sure it goes in the right place. Then skip that part. Just go right to throw it in the right spot. But this is just to give you ideas. There's no right way, wrong way. The right way is the way that you use. Now, the other thing I would encourage you, if you've not been using this at all, be more interested in creating notes off the bat. Just create notes. Just create notes. Don't worry about the organization yet. And then when you've got a bunch of notes, then you can look at them and go, okay, how would I organize these? Like, what are the right categories that I would put these in? And then you can drag them and put them in the right notebooks then. And you can always change it and move it around later. What some people do is they get caught in the planning stage of this, that they kind of fail to ever launch. They just like, oh my gosh, I don't know every category I want. So I'm so burdened by all my notebooks, and I've got 30 notebooks and only 2 of them have anything in it. This is stupid. Like, we completely overthought the whole thing. Just see how you can create notes first. Get in the habit of creating notes, because that's the first important part. Is you have content that needs to be organized. The organization comes secondary to that. Okay, that's a little pro tip for you there. Too many times, programs themselves, the applications themselves, they want you to do all this setup, and you're exhausted from the setup. You don't ever want to use it again. It's like, no, I just want to start using it. I don't want to have to do all this setup. All the setup's wearing me out. Okay, how do you create notes? All right, well, there's a button called Create Note. Let's jump over to a screen here. Let me share. Let's go here, and let me share. I'm pulling up the, let's do it this way. Okay, I'm pulling up the app. With the app and the browser look pretty similar, a little different, but similar. Okay, so I'm in here. What account is this? I've got so many accounts. Let me see if I can get a different one. Not that one. Let's go to this one. I'm switching accounts. It's coming back up again. Is there anything in here? Notes. Nope. Okay. All right. This one's got some stuff in it. All right. So it shows, you guys can see my screen over in the left-hand side, and I've made this a dark background. I like the dark backgrounds. It's easier on my eyes. You know how a lot of apps, you can choose a light background or dark background. The dark's easier on my eyes. So if yours looks white background, it's the same program. It's just set to the white rather than the black. It's just a personal preference. All right. So here's the search. I can hit a new note here. They have this new homepage piece, which wasn't always there. I find this confusing. It's just way too much information that throws at me. They're trying to be helpful, but they're throwing all my notes at me here. I don't typically use the home button. You can create shortcuts to things that you often go to. So you don't have to have it buried deep into your structure. You can grab shortcuts. So I made a shortcut here for GSU class notes for Evernote. So it jumps right to it. That's shortcuts. You can also, all my notes are in here. So this one has 106 notes in this sample. See if I can make this larger for you guys. Does that help? A little bigger? Okay, a little bigger to see. All right, so we're in notes, and so now this first column on the left is the menu bar. So you've got home, shortcuts, notes, tasks, notebooks, tags, shared, and trash. The second column, because I have notes selected, it shows notes over here. And it says I have 106 notes in here, and you can decide how you view this, right? I can scroll up and down and see all of them here. But this little button lets me sort my options. I can sort by title, date updated, date created, notes and groups. I like to have the most recent on top because I'm usually looking for the thing I just worked on. So that's how I do that. So date uploaded, descending, so that's there. You can also add filters. So if you want to filter your notes down by something, you can filter it down by any of these items. I don't often do that. And then you can also have your view items. There's 4 different view items here. So we're in the snippet view, which shows a little snippet of each one. This is a card view. It shows it in kind of a card view. The side list makes it just a list like this. And then the top list goes a list on top and a preview on the bottom. So I prefer snippets. So I'm going to go back to that. Okay, now that's the middle column. And when I click on one of the notes, it shows the content of it on the right side. Let me find something. All right, let's see. Okay, so I clicked on this one. Now the preview of it over here, see on the right. Now I can just edit right from here. If I want to come in here and I can type right into this, right into it. This is the title of it. This is just the content of it. And I can add content to it. I can come down here and add to my shopping list. All that stuff. But let's assume, so that's notes. So let me talk about how to create a new note. So you just click on the green new button and it says you want to create a note or a task. I just do note. And now it shows a new note over here on the right-hand side. And it's much like a word processor looks like. It's pretty simple. It's got the same kind of tools across the top. We're still in this 3-column view. If you wanted to go to full screen, you could just click this expand note and the whole note takes over the screen. So that makes it really nice and clean to work on if you want to work on it that way. So we're in the note here. There's a title. Every note can have a title. Call it whatever you want. Okay, so I type that in there. And then down here, it's got some helpful things. If you want to do a to-do list, you can click that. If you want to create a rating list, there's a lot of templates in here that you can use for free. Some people like templates. Some people find them annoying. They give you good ideas, but sometimes you have to clean up so much of it. It's like, what's the point? Just make my own. But you can look in the gallery and see all of those. But if you don't want to use any of those, just click down here below and I can just start typing. So I can say, okay, first I want to get account set up, create notes, manage notebooks. Okay, so I just started typing and you notice up in the menu up here, you've got a couple things. You can undo, you can pick different font sizes, large, medium, small. You've got different fonts, handful of fonts you can pick from. Font size, font color, bold, okay, bold, italic, underline. This is highlight. So if I wanted to highlight, let's say notebooks, I could just click on that and it makes it highlight. You can change the color of the highlighter. You see it's highlighted. You can make items bulleted, numbered, or checklists. Let's say I want to turn these into a checklist. So I highlight these and I call it a checklist. Now it's got the check boxes next to it. And you can check them and then put little lines through it when you get it done. So that's kind of nice. You can add links to other pages. You can align, you can indent. This is strike through, format it, offset, all of that. Okay, so that's what you can do here. Now, the other thing that's helpful, so this is just typing text. The other thing that's helpful is this insert button. In here, you can also add a calendar event, a task, a table, dividers, photos, audio recording. You can hook it up to your Google Drive. You can link your Google Docs and Google spreadsheets and Google Power slides in there. You have that set up. And the sketch is kind of neat. You can go to sketch, and this opens up a little drawing program where you can pick, okay, what color do I want? Let's see, I want this to be yellow. And we're going to draw this little scene here. Got a little tree, right? And I can change this to green and make my little tree. It also has a little shape recognizer. When you click this, we're not always good at drawing shapes, but if you try to draw a circle, it snaps right into whatever shape it thinks you're trying to draw. So that's helpful a little bit. That one wasn't good enough, I guess. There it goes. And you can come back and erase things that you don't want. And you can fill things that you want. Oh, it filled the whole thing. I'll back that up. When you're done drawing, you can hit done and it inserts it into your note for you. So if you're a sketcher or use a Apple Pencil or a stylus, you could do that and make notes that way. All right, so it's always saved. You don't ever have to save it. It's all saved. All of this is stored safely in the cloud under your account. And when you first create it, it's only viewable to you. Up in the top right-hand side, you can see only you have access to it. If you want to share it with people, you click share, and you can make a shareable link, which is a web address that you can share with anybody, and that would let them be able to view it. Or you can invite people who have an Evernote account to be able to edit, invite others. They can view it, edit. What else? View or edit. That's it, right? So if you don't trust people, just let them view it. If you trust them, you can let them edit it. But if you're kind of collaboratively working with somebody else, it's kind of fun to let them edit and they can work on it together. You could share a shopping list with somebody else and you guys could both add to it and mark them off and it would be synced together. But again, now that this is shared, it shows that it's shared to somebody else that has a link. If I shared this link to you, you guys could go find this. So if I copy this and put this into, put it in the chat here, you guys can see what happens. There's a link to this page. You could click on that and chat and it would take you to it, but you would just have view only. You'd be able to see this in a browser. That's how share works there. All right. Any questions so far? Everybody doing good? No questions? If anybody's talking, I can't hear. You're muted. All right. Okay. Let's go back to our slides and see what else we were going to talk about here. So that's creating a note, right? We talked about that. And let me show you also on the phone how this works. Plug my phone in. Let's go to phone. There you are. Okay. Let's go to Evernote. This is probably my personal account that's opening up in here, so it's not going to be the same as the one we just looked at. I don't think I'm logged into that one. But on the left, see the little green button at the bottom that says new? That's how you add a new note. So you click new, and you can say, okay, is it a note, a task? Do I want to open my camera, sketch, attach something? Let's just do a note. And now this looks much like it did on the computer, right? Where you can come in and say, this is my note here. Let's say I want to do a receipt. Receipt from Lowe's. I've got one on my desk here I can scan. All right, and then I come down here and I click the little camera button at the bottom. And it's looking, so let me grab this receipt and put it on my desk. All right, it's really smart. It takes out the background. All right, so it captured that. And let me show you what it looks like. So you say save, and it brings that. Look how nice and clean this is. It didn't take a whole picture of, it didn't take a picture of my whole desk. It just grabbed that, right? There's the whole thing. And you can zoom in like you go to Lowe's and you want to return something, they need that barcode. You just hold that up and show it to them, and great, you're good to go. You can actually write on these too. You can mark these up. There's a little button at the bottom here for markup. Opens up in here, and if I want to put an arrow like this item right here and this item right here, you could do that and save it and share it if you wanted to. Change the color. Right, done. Okay. Somebody asked if the other person has to have Evernote that you share it to. Did any of you click on that link that I shared?
Yep.
That didn't, and did you have Evernote, or did it just open up in a browser?
It opened in a browser.
Yeah, it didn't make you log in, right?
No.
Yeah. So, but if you're sharing it view only, the people you send it to do not have to have Evernote. But if you want them to edit, they have access to edit it, then they would have to have an Evernote account, obviously, because they have to use that program. All right. Okay. So
I have a
check that.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you take a picture of a receipt with the camera, is there a way to also get it into your iPhone photos, or is that totally separate?
Yeah, so like I took that picture, right? And I don't think it's put it into my camera roll also. Let me see if I can. No, it's not in my camera roll also. So you could take a separate picture, I guess. But would you need two of them? Because you have it safely in Evernote then.
Maybe. There's a workaround, I'm sure.
Yeah, you can always take it. I don't think in settings that it has that option to, some programs ask you that question. Like, let me see. If we go under, or up the top here, there's settings, camera. Oh, there you go.
Ah, okay, great.
It's there. So it's in settings. You just tell it if you want it to be on or not. They thought
This
of
is
that.
Deborah.
Yeah, Deborah.
When you take a picture of a receipt and you already have a receipt notebook set up, does it intuitively add it to that notebook or no?
Great question. So let's do this again. I didn't get into assigning it to the notebooks. I failed to speak to that. So, all right, let's go back into Evernote. And all right, I'm just going to open this note back up. So all of our accounts has to have a default notebook, which means if you don't designate a notebook, it'll throw it into the default notebook, right? So that's a good use for that inbox. Or I used to use the year that I was in, so I knew kind of when it was. So if I never filed it, I would know what year I captured it. So this one's by default, it says 2021 up there. You see that? That's the notebook at the very top. Now I can change it. I can just tap on that and go to notebook at the bottom here. Or sorry, move note, and then it pulls up all my notebooks, and I can just search for receipts. Okay, and I say receipts, done, and now it's moved to receipts. Each note can only be in one notebook. It cannot be in multiple notebooks. Okay, you could copy a note and put it in another one, but they're not synced. They're separate notes at that point. Okay, so it doesn't let you have the same note in more than one notebook. But you can put them in any notebook you want. So now it's in receipts. Now, the other way to do this, if we back up a second, if we hit new and we hit camera, yeah, right here, it's just capturing. So I can't do it. But if I went to, let's see, another way to do it, if I go to notebooks and I search receipts, right? And I go into receipts. All right, now I'm in the receipts notebook. And if I hit the new button now, it's going to inherit that notebook. So when I click note or picture, whatever, this is sample receipt. All right. So let's say I did that. I hit save. See, it's in the receipts notebook here because I initiated the note from that notebook. It inherits that notebook. So that's a way to do it. But you got to, it's 6 and F1. Doesn't it? So how do you want to do it, right? Do you want to do it before or do you want to do it after? It's really up to you how you do it. Sometimes you're like, I just want to capture it first and then I'll put it where I need it. But if you're actually in something, you're working on something, you can just keep adding to that notebook over and over again. Good question. All right. Good. All right. That was creating notes. We talked about that. What else is in here? Creating notes. This is an idea of creating a notebook and notes for GetSetUp classes. All right, let's talk about creating the notebooks. Let's jump to notebooks. All right, go back to sharing my Evernote. Okay, I'm back on the computer again. I'm going to go back to the view where I've got the menu here. Okay, so that was notes. Now under notebooks, I can open up notebooks, and I've got several notebooks in here. And I can click on the notebook name, and it'll bring up this little organizer here for my 25 notebooks. And they're in here, and you can sort these different ways you want. You can create a new notebook that you want. It tells you how many notes are in each one in the little parentheses here, right, in this little sample one. So like travel right here, this has, I can open this up, and there's the 9 notes that are in there. And I can open up one, and there's the note. This is an article I got online, and just put it in here. So that's in there. If you want to change the notebook, you just, move the note right up here if you wanted to do that. But that's how the notebooks are. So, but if you're going to create a notebook, you can click the plus sign right here, or you can click the green new notebook over here. And when you click that, it says, what do you want to call this? Let's call this St. Patrick's. Okay. All right, we'll create that. So it puts it down here in the list. It's going to be alphabetical, I think. Yeah, it's down here, and there's nothing in there, right? We haven't added anything to it. Okay. You say, how do I select my default notebook? You click on these 3 dots next to the one you want to be the default notebook. And if it's not the default notebook, it'll have the option set as default notebook. If it is already the default notebook, that option's not there. So this one is the default notebook. See, it's got the little star by it. So that's how I know it's got, it's default. And you can add notes from here too. That's another way you can do it. Okay. So that's how the notebooks work. All right. Stacks are similar. You can, you create stacks inside of here, but again, that's down the road, right? I mean, you got to have enough notebooks to have stacks. When I first started using this, they didn't have stacks. They added stacks a few years ago. That's a newer thing. It's not, and you can drag things around from here. So if I wanted to take something from, let's open up family files and 19 family files, and then 3 family files here. I've got 2 of them. I can drag this sample note, pick it up, and put it up into this notebook. And it goes up. Oh, did it go up there? Let me make this smaller again. I'm going to pick this up and drag it up to family and just drop it in there, and it goes there. So this one went down to 2 and this one up to 20. So you can move them around that way if you want to as well. Drop and drag. Drag and drop. Okay. That's how those go. All right, what else in here? Curating content. So let's assume you're out and about and you're finding something. Let's go to, see if this works. Let's see. If I go here, I can open up something over here. All right, I'm going to open up something on my computer, but let's go back first before we go to that. I want to tell you about this curating notes piece. Okay, so there's this web clipper. So you can go to this address. It's evernote.com/features/web clipper. It's free. You can install it on whatever browser you use, doesn't matter. And what it does is it allows you to easily capture content from whatever browser you're in and throw it right into your Evernote. I'll show you how this works. Okay, this is a free thing to do, and it's really helpful. So if I go to, all right, so we're looking at USA Today. I'm logged into USA Today, or not logged in, just I'm on the USA Today page. And let's see if there's anything on St. Patrick's Day, because that's kind of, it's just so all this bad news. There's no good fun news. All right, this guy's got a green shirt on, so let's see what he says here. Okay. Okay, so let's assume I want this article to go into my Evernote account. I find an article that's really interesting to me and I want to save it. So I go up to my extension and I've added, it's this little green elephant up in the top right, green elephant up here. When you have it installed as an extension, it shows up there. So when I click on that, it opens up my web clipper, and my web clipper says, okay, what format do you want to clip this? It's giving me a preview of the simplified article. If I do the full article, I get ads and everything. Full page is everything. Bookmark is this simple little thumbnail with a link. Screenshot will let you pick what part of the page you want to capture. So let's go back to simplified article, which cleans out the ads. And then it says, where do you want to put it? Organization is the notebook you want to put it in. So let's say I come down here. I don't know what account I'm set up to here. Let's see. I have so many accounts. I don't think this is, no, this is a personal one. All right, so let's go sports. Let's put it in sports. Do I have a sports? No, but you could create a new one. I don't want that. Let's do miscellaneous. Okay, so I put in a miscellaneous. All right. Oh, this is where I can change. I don't want to add another one right now. This is, if you had multiple accounts, you can pick which account it's going into. So I'm going to put it into this notebook and I hit save clip. And now I can keep browsing, but that article is now in my miscellaneous notebook in my account. So let me show you what I mean. I think it went to my phone account. All right, so I go back and I go to miscellaneous. I'm search miscellaneous. Yeah, okay. Yep, see, there's the article. Do you see it? And I open it up and there it is. This is the one that we just saw. And it cleans it out. See how nice and clean it is? It takes all the ads out. And you have in the top right, you have the original link that it was. So you can click on that and go right back to that as well. And it's in miscellaneous. I could change this again, move note and put it somewhere else if I wanted to. So that's how nice it is to curate content. So you can put things in here. So how do I use that? Sometimes I'm reading articles about business or small business or entrepreneurship, and I find something that would be relevant to teaching at GetSetUp. I'll put them into my notebooks for that. So I know where they are. I can find them and keep them organized. I don't even always read the whole article when I first find it. I don't have time. I just got to have time to find them, and then I can go back and read them later when I don't have time to look for stuff. I know what to read when I have time. Okay, any questions on the curating?
So if the article is taken down on the original site, is it still in the Evernote?
Yeah, the part
notebook?
that it clipped. Yeah, the part that it clipped will still be available to you. Another link, if it's dead, we'll be able to go back out to it. But yeah, it actually grabs the text and brings it into your account. So you have that, which is nice. Sometimes if they've got some weird stuff on the site, sometimes it doesn't grab all of that. But what's nice is that you can use that simplified version and it brings back the clean version of it, which is good. I've used it a lot for recipes before. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kevin. On the same note, what she said, if they take the site or the link down, does the thing also bring pictures in the article?
It does some, yeah. It like if I go back to this one I brought in, right? This guy here. There's this animated thing going on here. Like that probably won't come in. They probably won't bring that whole thing in. But this picture came in. Remember, we saw this picture.
Right.
And this is a gallery. I don't think that all came in because that's a
I'm
separate
saying that
thing.
because sometimes I cut and paste, and if I'm cutting and pasting, I'll get the text, but not necessarily all of the pictures.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to learn about this Evernote. Yeah.
Yeah. So give this a try. I mean, it depends on the website page itself. It really varies from one to the other. Which ones, how they coded it and how it comes in. But it did bring in that static photo. These animated ones or these video ones don't typically come in.
Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Good questions. All right, that's the web clipper. How do you search your notes? Oh, by the way, you can use this on your phone as well. You can curate things and you don't have to install a extension on there. Let me go back to my phone and show you on here. If if I have Evernote installed on my phone, then it'll show up when I do this next step. So let's assume let's go to Google and let's search St. Patrick's Day just to get a good article here. St. Patrick's. All right. Let's see. All right, parade. Let's go to that. All right. Let's say I want to click on this one. More info. I want a web page. Okay, so here's an event that's on a local newspaper web page, and down up at the top, depends on your phone, there's a share button. It's in the top right corner. It's a square with the up arrow coming in, right? That's share. So when I click on that, it opens up this little menu on the bottom. And if you have Evernote installed, it's going to be on your little list down here. And I can click on Evernote. And it says, okay, we're going to clip this article. It opens up this little tool. All right, so it's got the name of the article and it says, okay, where do you want to put it? I can put it in, I think this one's the one that's got St. Patrick's Day in it. I gotta spell it right. I thought I had it, do I? Maybe not. All right, I don't have that notebook in this one. Just because I have it attached to the wrong account. So let's send it to 2021, that's fine. So you pick which notebook you want it in and you hit save. And it clips it and it puts it in there. So when I go to Evernote again, and I look at notes, it's going to be on top here because I just did it. There's the article, or there's the clip that I got. So really easy to do from your phone also. The real practical way I use this, you guys know I use Flipboard quite a bit to read articles. So let's do, I'm coming through and I find this article on Tom Brady and I go, I want to save that one. So I click on the share button, which is on the bottom now on this program. It's still at the bottom next to the heart. It's the picture of the box with the up arrow. I click on that. I go to Evernote. It opens this up again. It says, what notebook do you want to put it in? Let's see if I got a sports notebook. I guess not. Let's just keep it in 2021 then. Save. And it saves that article. So I can go back to reading more articles and keep saving stuff that I want. So that's how I use it practically on a day-to-day basis. All right, how are we doing? Any questions? This seem easy? That's right, it's pretty simple stuff, right? It's nice because it'll work on your iPad, it'll work on your tablet, it'll work on your phone, it'll work on your computer, however you want to use it. All right, what about searching? We talked about that a little bit already. What else can I say about searching? You just go to search box and you start looking for things. If I go back to share this and Evernote, go back to the app here. Let's assume, I don't know what I'm looking for here. Let's see, I think there might be an article about a queen in here that I clipped a long time ago. Spell it right, queen. All right, so you notice that it found one note that had queen in it, all right? But it's not the title of the note. This is another one I grabbed from USA Today back, this is dated last year. So I copied this about a year ago. Okay, and you notice through here, it'll highlight where the word queen pops up. See where it says queen? So it looked inside the article and it found those references to the queen. There she is again. So it's really smart on when it searches for things. So you may not even remember what notebook you put it in, but if you know something about the note, you could search for that phrase or that word and it'll go looking for it for you. So that's another good thing. You don't have to remember exactly where you put everything. It goes and finds it for you. Okay. If you guys really get fancy and you want to organize things, you can also use their tag feature where you can create tags and add tags to notes. This allows you to kind of organize your data in a way that, let's say you have a recipe notebook, but some recipes are for dinner, some are for lunch, some are for dessert, and you could tag them separately for that. versus having a notebook for dessert, notebook for the dinner and all that. So that way you can organize it any way you want. You just add a tag, create tags, and then they're out there. You fully customize those tags, anything you want those to be. All right. So
Kevin, this is Antoinette. A question for you.
sure.
Is there a certain amount of storage that you can that you have access to for Evernote
Not really.
for the
The
free
only-
version?
Not really. They limit how much you can do in a month and how big a single note can be. But
Okay.
they don't limit how many notes you can have or, yeah. So as long as you're not just like wholesale uploading a whole bunch of stuff at one time, that's what they prevent. But if you're kind of
Okay.
going as, you know, a normal pace of things, then I've never had the limit on that. I did have a guy that was trying to really bring a whole bunch in at one time, and he had some limits. So we ended up paying for the paid version just to kind of get over the hump of catching up. But on a normal basis, I never had any limits on it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Kevin,
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but there's a question from the lounge from Gloria. She's asking, so is it best to first install it on my laptop, then it will sync with my phone, or I will have to manually install it on both?
Let me see again. Is it best to first install on my laptop? Yeah, you'd have to install it on both, but I would start on the laptop. I would start your account on the laptop and create your account, your free account, and then go install Evernote on your phone, and then log in on your phone with the same account you created on your laptop. So same username and password, and then they should be in sync. That's how you do that. Yeah, and the reason I suggest creating the account on the computer first is that it's a little easier to see, you know, what's free and what's marketing you to sign up and, you know, pay for it. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. You start free, and then you'd install the free version again on the phone and just log in with your same account. You'd be good. Good question.
Kevin, it's Deborah.
Yeah.
When you say you bring over a file that has a link in it, and that link stays active in Evernote or not? Yeah.
So you're saying the link came from another source, or you put the link in?
It came from another source. You copied, say, an article that had a link in it.
Yeah.
Does it copy live links and okay.
Yeah. Let me try to give you another example here. All right. All right. I'm going to open, let's see, let's do it this way. If I have, all right, we're going to share a couple things. So let's share this and this. All right. So I'm going to go first to this email. Okay. So this is an email you can see, right? And it's got a link in it right here and a link down here. Okay. And this button's probably a link too. So in this case, I just want to copy this stuff. Let's say I'm just copying this. We're just doing the whole copy and paste thing. Let's just kind of go to there. So I select all that and then I copy it. And then I go to my Evernote and I create a new note. And over here, it opens up a new note and I say, email from someone. And I come down here and I just paste this in here. Okay, so now it pasted it all in here, but these are links, see? And that's a link, and that's a link.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's a good way to do that. Yeah. All right. All right, we're running out of time. What else do we got to share with you? If I go back to slides, any questions you guys have? Like I said, I have an advanced class of this that I go into some more stuff, but we talked about sharing, how you can share it. You go up to share, you give them a link. You can also print notes one at a time. Up in the top right, if I go back to this screen here, and move this over here. In the top right of your note screen, next to the share button, there's the 3 dots. When you open those 3 dots up, a little menu opens up here, and you can export as a PDF, and you can also print. You can print that one note out there. You can save it as a PDF. You can print it out. If you move it to trash, it goes in the trash, and you can retrieve it out of trash until you empty the trash. When you empty the trash, it's gone, gone, gone. But when you put it in the trash, it stays there until you dump the trash. All right, so that's printing. A couple of advanced features. We talked about some of these shortcuts, tags. You can merge notes. You can have internal links from note to note. A pretty extensive gallery of templates you can play around with. Email, we talked about. There's a way to do reminders. You can set reminders to yourself on these notes to remind you to do something. It'll give you a notification to do some action there. I don't use the tasks piece much. I don't think it's really a great task tool. I have other tools I use for that, but they do have that feature in there. I use it mostly just for the organization of the files, the data, things like that. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? All right. Do you feel a little more comfortable with it? Do you feel like you can tackle this? You can't hurt anything. You can get unorganized, but we're already kind of unorganized. So you can get back organized if you move things back around. So if you don't like where it is, put it somewhere else. You can rename things, you can change things, add, delete, keep it all to yourself, share with whoever. It's really good. It's a good tool. And you know, one of the things I like about it is that it's not an app. I'm an Apple guy. I love Apple products. I used Microsoft for a long time. I'm not a big Microsoft guy anymore. I love Apple stuff. But I love some tools that work across all platforms, because sometimes I'm on things that are not Macs, and I want to have a tool that I can use. So you know, like Apple Notes is good if I'm on Apple all the time, but it doesn't have these organization abilities. And sometimes if I'm somewhere else, I need to have something that's not just Apple. So this works well for me for that. All about using the best tool for the right situation. And this one works pretty well for lots of people. And